Correct.
promote.
So, sorry, not to just to cut you off, but
Go
there's
ahead, go ahead.
huh?
No, I said, go ahead, Rach, you got it.
Well, there's people that keep saying like, oh, they offered. I keep hearing the word like fake offer, right? What's a fake offer? And I didn't understand it. And I think who did they say was? Oh, Shakur said that Haney sent him a fake offer or something, right? And I'm like, what is a fake offer? This is what I would call a fake offer. A fake offer is a DM, a text message saying that, hey, I'm offering you 1 million when you don't have that million. That's like me trying to buy a house or someone trying to buy my house and saying, hey, I'm going to offer you $5 million for your house. I'm not going to accept your offer because I know you don't freaking have it in your bank account. Now, come to me with an actual proof of funds that shows me or what is it called? An approval that you're approved for this amount of funds to purchase my house, then we'll talk. But saying, oh, well, I'm offering you 1 million to fight on ESPN, how are you offering that? You don't even own your TV rights. You don't own your masters. You don't own the contract for you to fight how many times a year and where and at what rate. Top Rank owns that. So if you don't have the ownership of something you're trying to offer me, how is you offering me anything?
Facts. And if this is the case, my advice for Shakur Stevenson, you have representation. Why not let your representation do all of the negotiating on your behalf? That's what the representation is getting a piece of your purse for in the first place. Am I right or wrong, Rachel?
Yeah, but it has to be promotion to promotion.
Right. And so part of his representation is Bob
Is
Arum and
Top
Top
Rank.
Rank. Is
Correct.
Top Rank. So you gotta
Correct.
let Top Rank do all the negotiating to man down promotions or Al Heyman and everybody over there at the PBC. You got two networks. They got to decide who's going to pay, the licensing fees, etc. So when I heard this, I'm like, come on, y'all. But that's because most people don't understand the business. So it's easy for someone to say, yeah, Frank Martin just ducked Shakur. Shakur said it on a podcast and he got the DMs and the proof. But that doesn't mean anything if he doesn't have the proof of DM is not proof of funds. You know, proof of
Correct.
DM is not equivalent to Bob Arum making a press release. These are two totally different elements. We have
Not even
Kamal
just
Oz. Oh, go ahead,
yeah.
go ahead, go ahead, Rachel. I'm listening. Go ahead, speak on it.
Sorry, not just a press release. I mean, like if it's so strong of a document that you're saying that you gave him an offer, an actual offer written in paper, because offers in verbal is nothing. So offer from Top Rank that says we are willing to, like, this is the you could even put proposed date and venue to be determined. But this is the money that we're talking about from Top Rank, from Todd DeBuff or Bob Arum, sending it over to Frank Martin. Then this is just two people talking.
Facts. We have Kamal Oz, very smart man. He's here. Thank you for
Hey,
joining the
Kamal.
panel.
Hey, Rachel, always a pleasure to share a panel with you. And, I really admire you. And of course, Manager Marty, same. You both have more inside knowledge of boxing, obviously, more of a micro perspective because you're involved in it. I have a macro perspective. I can just go over what I see from the outside, but I can say that Frank Martin was ranked number 6 or number 7 by the WBC. In order to fight Shakur Stevenson. Lomachenko was ranked number 1, which was an in-house fight for Top Rank. It's a legacy fight for Shakur Stevenson, and he passed on the fight. And Shakur, when my comment earlier, I had a super chat that said Shakur wasn't nearly as animated. He wasn't. The things that he said about Lomachenko were just kind of slight, saying something, not really the same, the vitriol and the disrespect that he had for Frank Martin. Also ranked ahead of Frank Martin with the WBC, who declined the fight, was a guy by the name of William Zepeda, who William Zepeda has an exciting style. He's with Golden Boy. He just beat Mercito Gesta last weekend. He knocked him out. And William Zepeda and Shakur Stevenson would have done a lot of numbers in terms of a lot of interest because of the style contrast. And William Zepeda is a growing fighter. And so I didn't hear Shakur Stevenson, you correct me if I'm wrong, Rachel or Manager Marty, I didn't hear him criticize or even mention William Zepeda's name at all when he was talking about people who passed him up. So he was very light to go after Lomachenko, which is he should be upset with his promoter, his own promoter, because Lomachenko said that he was chasing the Devin Haney fight. And when that didn't happen, Bob Arum kind of just dismissed Lomachenko and said some malarkey about his town being attacked, which, I'm not dismissing what's going on in Ukraine, but I mean, that's been going on for the past year, and Lomachenko fought. And then he also was at the Daniel Dubois versus Usyk fight. So if he was up in arms about that, then I don't know. The behavior just is not congruent, especially to someone who says that they can wait for Devin Haney until the end of time, and then they turn down Shakur. Now the rumor is, I mean, it's not been finalized, but the rumor is that Lomachenko and Kambosos, who's signed to Lou DiBella, but he is also has an agreement with Top Rank, broadcasting agreement. They're going to fight in Australia early next year. And so Kambosos is someone Shakur Stevenson wanted to fight. So you have three individuals who, in my opinion, would have been higher profile fights for Shakur Stevenson than Frank Martin. Two of them in-house, easy to make. And I didn't see nearly the energy, the venom, the vitriol, the disrespect, the disclosure of personal information that Shakur's totally acting. And I think he's, very close to Crawford. So he's taking a lot of the pages out of Crawford's book and what he did, he tried to do to Spence. But again, Spence came out as he always appeared to be the honest person because his story never changed. So correct me if I'm wrong, but has anybody seen Shakur with the same intensity or rage at his own promoter, who has these two high-profile fights? Kambosos, former undisputed champion in that weight class. Lomachenko, big legacy fight. Corporate media puts him, in their pound-for-pound list. Great amateur career. I didn't hear Shakur at all come out and say, Top Rank, why aren't you giving me these fights that are in-house and supposed to be easier to make? Or why, William Zepeda, why are you fighting Mercito Gesta? Who's that? Why don't you fight for the WBC? Correct me if I'm wrong. Did anybody hear the same passion and anger that he has for Frank Martin towards those other three individuals?
No, and I think part of it is, and I said this in the chat earlier, is his own doing. He lost the title on the scales. He could have easily retained those titles and requested to move up into a direct title shot. That would have been the best way, but he didn't, right? He lost the titles on the scales, and it left him at the WBC convention last year scrambling. I believe, oh my God, why can't I remember this guy's name? Don? I think his name was Don, was the one that was representing Top Rank at the WBC last year. And that's when, the Jaime Lomachenko was getting worked on. And so Don was asking to place Shakur. And that's where he was like, anyone in the top five, I believe he said. And they had to go down the list because, Pitbull didn't fight him, and then they went bang 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 all the way down the list. Now the list is completely changed, but at the same time I feel like I would be frustrated if I was him as well, but I have to take accountability and not just point at my promoter, because it was my freaking fault for not making the weight and not being in the best position possible. That's just, who are you supposed to blame for that, for not being in the best position?